Is this Miss Lamb, your new guardian?
There's been a mistake.
No?
You've got the wrong house.
Alice Lamb, Dune Cottage.
Yes, but...
In you go, Frank.
No, you don't. I don't want him.
You can't refuse. You had a letter.
No, I didn't.
You must have. What did I tell you? We've all got to do our bit.
So you take him. I'm working.
I have 4 of my own.
More fool you. You should have been more careful.
It's a beautiful story. How did where did the inspiration for Summerland come from, Jessica?
So it really came from a sort of interest in the possibilities of what cinema can do. Because when I wrote it, it was my first film that I'd written specifically for the cinema, as opposed to adapting something I'd already written in the theatre. So I was doing Now Gwyn and Blue Stockings, my previous plays, for the screen, but I wanted with this to ask myself what cinema could do. And I love magic realism, and I love the sort of stretch of imagination that you can get in cinema. And I feel like everyday life we have to deal with every day, so why not use the opportunity when you can create something beyond that on screen? It's one of the joys of cinema. Let's do that. And so I wanted to write about the what if, about what if there is more than what we see. And from there I sort of got interested in folklore and started reading more about legends and myths and characters, and I love to write unusual characters as well. And I like to write characters that are not only underdogs, but also that give you a bit of wit and a bit of grit. And I love Alice because she's got a voice that I think a lot of us would like to have if we if we were ruder and if we were a bit more confident. I think as much as she's not likable necessarily at the beginning, I just think, oh, I wish I had the guts to tell people to shut the door in someone's face when I'm writing. So yeah, something quite fun about creating someone who's a bit cantankerous.
What?
Well, spit it out.
We're collecting for charity.
Good for you.
It's to help the aged.
You know how you can help the aged? You can bugger off.
Gemma, how did you get involved in this? Because I know you two had worked together before on the stage production of Nell Gwyn. Was Summerland already written by that point? Was Gemma someone that you had in mind when you were writing? Or?
She wasn't, because I actually started writing just before we met. And what was funny was that I wrote Alice a bit older. And so when Gemma first read the script, she read it with a sort of producer's hat on. And I was so pleased that she loved it, that it seemed really obvious. Suddenly I thought, oh, well, I could rewrite it. And wouldn't it be amazing if Gemma played this role? And it isn't her conventional role that we've seen her play before, but that to me is a reason to give an actor the opportunity, rather than, you know, to steer into some sort of well-trodden path, because she's such a chameleon, such a talent, that I knew she could bend her performance to fit something new.
And Gemma, from an actor's point of view, what made you want to kind of take this on? Was it the character, the story, or working with Jessica again, or all of those things?
It was all of those things, but I think initially it was the story that just bowled me over. I was really surprised by it, and it was like nothing I'd seen for a long time on screen. I loved the relationships, the main relationships between Alice and Frank and Alice and Vera. They were really beautiful, I thought, and the journey that Alice goes on. And then, you know, Jess and I, we'd worked together on Nell, and we'd become friends on that. And then we made leading lady parts as well, which is a short film. And so we were kind of getting closer and closer. We've now become like a kind of like a collaborative double act. We've got other things that we're working on together. And it's so nice when you work with someone you know well. Sometimes I think it can be difficult, but it's just a shorthand. There's there's something we can bounce off each other, we can work together in this kind of, I don't know, it's just a very easy way where we really respect one another. So, you know, it's rare to find that. So there were many aspects as to why I wanted to make this, but yeah, I think it's just some things just come to you as it may be a bit serendipitously, and so it felt like the right thing to do.
Would you think it was strange if a woman loved another woman?
No. Sorry.
It's not you. You didn't. It's just. Most people think it's wicked. Why? I don't know. They think it's a sin.
How did you find that kind of transition from writing for stage to being a first-time film director? Was Gemma able to kind of help you with that transition as well?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was a much easier shift than I expected. I always imagined that, you know, moving from one medium to another would be really difficult. And I thought, oh gosh, you're going to need to know so much about the technical side of filmmaking and cameras and lights and the boom and distances and aspect ratios. But actually your job as a director and as a filmmaker and a storyteller is firstly to tell the story. And I've worked with actors for my whole career and love working with actors, and so that is essentially the same transition. You're just looking through a different scale, and so helping people to create a performance which is right for the camera rather than right for, you know, a big room full of 2,000 people. But all of these actors are so experienced in that you know, they were leading me really. But the other part of that is that I think a director's job is to really encourage everybody else who is creative in the team to offer up their very best suggestions. So it's not about me being an auteur, it's about creating a picture where you get the best from everybody, and it's about making the best work rather than about it being your idea. And so in that way, you know, it is easy making a film, sort of that transition, because I didn't need to know everything about the technical side of filmmaking. I learned as much as I possibly could, but that's why you work with someone like Laurie Rose, who's just the most fantastic cinematographer, because they bring that with them. And so I think it's about having a trusted team, and I couldn't have asked for a better team on this film. And I'm really proud that we had a 50-50 gender split as well, which we worked really hard to do, and it really made a difference to the sort of the life on set, I think, the sort of the fun of that.
It's Frank here.
What is it?
His father. We just had the telegram.
Life is not kind. Anguish is inevitable. What matters is how you deal with it.
Poor little lad, having to bear it on his own.
He's not on his own.
Nobody knows how to be a parent. But you two, gosh, you make quite a pair.